up, everybody? This is the Retro Matador. My name is RetroDetro.
And I'm Matador Gabe.
And today we're bringing you Penguin episode 3. Which Matador I think is probably one of my favorite episodes of the season so far. It shows a lot of, I feel like this one is a lot about Victor and a lot of the trials and tribulations that Victor went through that week before with the flood, which actually the episode opens up with us seeing a little bit of Victor's life before all this happened. He was a normal kid. He wasn't running the streets or anything.
That's devastating, bro. This is like the beginning of a freaking superhero movie, right? Like he's got just a regular life happening, and then all of a sudden, bam, the Riddler strikes. He doesn't know what's going on, just explosion, and then he sees his parents get wiped out, his sister gone, all this devastation, and then what happens to him. And it's just so good for his character development. It's sad for him as a character, but man, I agree with you. Victor is kind of the low-key, he's the best character on the show, dog. Like he's the person that I'm following the most. Like, yes, Oz is like amazing and it's awesome, and then Sofia, like, don't get me wrong, she's amazing too, but I'm more invested, and I think other people that I've talked to are more invested on what's happening with Victor, and seeing this growth in this episode was very fulfilling.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, you get to see a little bit of his inside life of like his family. You see his mom and his dad are hardworking individuals. You see his sister. Actually, before the bombs go off, you see he walks into his home and his sister has an "I voted today" sticker on her shirt. So she had just voted for Bella Real right before the bombs went off that day. And he tells his dad, why don't you do more? We can make more money. We can be more successful. And his dad's like, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to corrupt yourself in this world, which is, again, this ties in later on. But he tells his dad, all right, I'm going to go to the rooftop with some friends, watch the fireworks go off. And his dad's like, I don't know. I don't like those people you hang out with. They're not good. I think some of them sell drugs. But Victor's like, Dad, why don't you trust me?
Right.
And so Victor goes, and he has a girlfriend, and they're all hanging out. And like you said, they thought the fireworks were going off, and boom! You get the flood from the Batman in Victor's POV. And in the Batman was high. He saw it happen. He was in shock. But Victor was right next to a floodgate.
Right, dude. That was crazy. And, I think his dad sets up the moral dilemma that Victor's going to go through in the episode, obviously, right? And so with that, we're going to be seeing how he progresses from this innocent person who feels trapped, right? That's like the whole thing. Like, I'm here against my will. Like, I'm doing it because I have to. And then we're going to see how that transitions later on. But yeah, I think the explosion symbolizes for his life, like, just the big change that happens, and it's so instant.
Yeah. I actually, before we move on to the next subject, you actually made me think of something. You said he feels trapped at gunpoint or whatnot in the situation. Do you think him seeing the floodwater, because he tries to call his mom and dad to warn them as he sees the water rush up to his apartment, he watches his family die in front of him.
Right.
Them being stuck in that apartment and drowning and choking, do you think that's also something that he's feeling just from a different perspective? Like, I feel like he's actually going through something, not as like death, but I think that symbolizes what he's feeling now in the situation that he's in.
Yeah, I definitely feel like he's gonna lose himself. Like, what he believes he values is changing, and all of that goodness that he has is slowly being killed off. Whereas, his parents, it's very devastating. Like I said, that's the formula, dog, for these superheroes, for the villains. I mean, it's just who you gonna become. We're one bad day away, right? And this is his one bad day, dog. But he doesn't just go over the edge right away. He doesn't understand who he really is. He's just, I'm trying to survive. He was with the wrong crowd, doing exactly what his dad said he didn't want him to do, which is hanging around the wrong people. And then he got himself set up in a situation where Penguin caught him, and now you're in. You're a part of it now, and
no turning back.
Right, but for the beginning part, he's there against his will in his mind, right? Which is a contrast, which we'll see with what Oz actually thinks about him, which is really good as well. But yeah, I mean, they did a great job doing the flood scenes. They use it more than once in the episode, and it's really cool to see that, like you said, his perspective on what happened that day.
Yeah, for sure. So it does transition into it just being like he's sitting against the window thinking about everything, into Oz's apartment. Oz is kind of hyping him up. Hell, we're getting ready to go with Sofia. We're gonna go do this. You work for me now, kid. And he gives him a little bit of chump change, and he tells him, I love Oz's like euphemisms, and he tells him, he's like, never do work for free. You always tell somebody what you're worth. And Oz gives him $1,000. Without even thinking, Victor goes, I want to.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Oz is so proud of him. You see it in Oz's eyes. He gets a giggle out of it, and he's like, no.
No. Yeah, exactly, bro. I mean, I really like that because, again, from the last episode, obviously Oz was like super big on like, dude, you're going to have to start making decisions like this. You got to think on your feet. You cannot sit back and then just be afraid when something doesn't go according to plan. Life is not planned. We just do what we do in that moment to get what we want. We have plans, but sometimes stuff's going to change. And I mean, again, here's another instance of like, to be the man, you got to say what you want and just do it, man. And he's giving him money because he's caring about taking care of him. He's like, I didn't even think about what I should have paid you, but I got you, bro. You're not doing it for free, right?
I mean, but just that sentiment of paying him, like showing him you're not, yes, in a sense you are trapped, but in a sense I care about you and I know you don't have anything or anyone, but he's caring about him and telling him like, I know you don't have anybody. I know you don't have anything, but you actually have been there for me in this, 2 weeks almost?
Right.
Like, they've gotten real close, real fast, but I think Oz is so proud of him and how much change he's made, and you'll see it more and more through this episode that Oz is like, this is my boy. Like,
right.
I ride with him. Now, does Oz still get upset with him? Of course. Who wouldn't with someone that, you take under your wing and they do something to disappoint you? But in this moment, he is just so proud of this kid. And like I said, this episode is very Victor-centric, so we're going to be talking about him a lot.
Oh, yeah. So then you have Sofia come, right? Like, that's what they're waiting on. And right when Sofia gets there, then you have Oz. He's got a call with Salvatore, so he's like, I'm going to go to the back room, and you take care of him. Then immediately Victor's like, And
his stutter kicks in. You can tell he does stutter, but only when he's really nervous.
Right, and he's still going through like you see, it's not like an instant where Oz was like, you need to be this way, and then Victor's this way. It's still like a work in progress for him because there's Sofia just asking him questions, and he's just like, done. He doesn't have it all the way yet, and I wonder if his stutter is going to go away as he gains confidence, and I see if that's part of the character, or if it's just something that he's gonna have even if he's at the top of his game. But Sofia comes. He's kind of like, hey, this is me, I'm his driver. And she's like, oh, did he tell you he was my driver? And he's like, nah, I didn't think so. And then here comes Oz trying to be like, all right, let's go do this. Let's go and check out the drugs that we're trying to do. And Sofia's like, nah, it's just you and me. Because I'm just trying to go. Yeah, it's just like old times. You're going to drive for me. To me, it feels like Sofia is just kind of like, she sees Oz and sees what he's doing, but constantly needs to say, "Hey, I'm in charge and you're not. You work for me."
She is very unpredictable. Like,
right.
I don't think Oz thought about how he thought maybe she's just crazy. He could take advantage of that. Like you said, she's the boss.
Right.
And as the boss, I mean, she's not necessarily the boss right now. But she knows things. She knows the business. She knows the game. She grew up in it. She was born in it. She was molded by it. By the time that Oswald saw the game, it was me. I'm just messing with
It was nothing but blinding.
But to be fair, but she was molded by the game, so she peeps when something's not right. And we do find out a little bit later in this episode that Oz, we don't fully understand what he did, but we know he kind of threw her under the bus. And we know that she got in a lot more trouble for being the hangman than he thought she would have got in trouble for. So there is some resentment and some, remorse. There's some resentment from her, but there's some remorse from Oz. And they kind of rekindle that relationship that they have, and her bringing him in to see these new drugs, which is a shroom or it's I don't know. It's like a shroom that pulsates of blood, and they turn it into a crystal meth.
Blood sap shroom type situation, and definitely Breaking Bad. I thought it was so funny. Like, bro, as soon as he's breaking it up, I was like, that's blue, but it's red, right? Like, it's literally the same thing. Let's cook. He made a joke about cooking. All right, that's where you're cooking the stuff, and then you see the product in its final form is crushed up like blue on Breaking Bad. But and then I feel like I don't know what you think, but I thought immediately, like, Oz decides what the name is for the drug, right?
Bliss.
He calls it Bliss. I was like, that's blue, Bliss, right there. They just copying Breaking Bad, dog, in this, and it makes it even more cool because Breaking Bad's amazing. But back to the shrooms, like, what we find out in the episode is that it's not even Alberto's plan. That he thought it was Sofia's plan the whole time, because this product's coming from Arkham, something that she had to take. They forced her to take in Arkham to help her, right? And so she has first-hand experience of being exposed to this and figured that it would be so potent out on the streets to be able to control everybody and to control the drug game. And so she's introduced it here, and Oz is like, oh shit, you took this? Like, bro. Like,
well, did she take it or did she have connections to it? Is that Dr. Theo Rossi's character, is he a part of getting her those drugs on the streets? How? Because he was in Arkham with her as a doctor, so how is she? There's someone that's providing this drug to her.
That's I mean, it's a good piece of it too. We know that people in Arkham, they're corrupt anyway, so there is no real rehab. They're just holding these people, and same thing with Blackgate. There's still corrupt people there too, and so it goes everywhere. Whoever's got the money is in control, right? And so I feel that I didn't even put that together. Honestly, I already forgot about Theo Rossi's character in this episode because, he was nowhere to be found. But I guess that does make sense if they do go that way. I could see that being the connect for her to get the drugs.
So you did mention earlier that Oz comes up with the name of the drug. So if you look at small details, always watch Sofia in this episode also. Anytime Oz speaks out of character, comes up with the name of the drug, she gives him a quick side eye. She just can't. She can't put her finger on it, but she just don't like it. You don't talk
itchy, dog. Yeah, bro, because he's taking that step in front of her. He's saying, like, look, I named it. This is my product. Oh, my bad. It's our product. This is your stuff, right? Like, he takes 2 steps forward to take 1 backwards, right? Like, he says, when he walks into the Triad's place, because that's where they're going to try to see who they can sell the drug to, right? He says it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So he's literally saying the way that he's gonna act, even with Sofia. So he's not gonna ask for permission to step in front. He's just gonna step in front and then be like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah.
Right? He's gonna see how much he can take before she says something, and then when she says something, "Oh, my bad. You're in charge."
100%. Now, as you stated, we see the drug. They are going to present it to the Triad, but in the background of this situation, you do have Victor at home alone at Oz's house, and he invites his girlfriend over. They haven't talked in about a week or two, and they miss each other. They love each other, and Victor finds out that she's leaving. She's going to California. She's getting out of Dodge, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing left for her in Gotham. And she tries to convince Victor to go with her, and he bites. He takes $500 of that $1,000 that he had, that I just gave him, and he told her, "Hey, stay somewhere nice. Get out the streets. Buy me a ticket. I'll be there tomorrow night."
Right. I mean, that's to me is the last remnant of his past that anchors him to his values that he has. Like, outside of just memory, right? Like, she represents him being happy and a positive person and doing things the right way. Because even when they would hang out with their friends, as soon as the drug dealer cousin comes by, she's like, "I hate that dude." And he's like, "Yeah, me too." Like, she's right there with him, trying to push him to be a good person. And that inspires him to be like, "Yeah, I should leave. I should go. I do have values that my dad taught me, and so I will, but I'll have to figure that out," right? Like, I'll figure out how I'm gonna get there. But he's excited, and we see him like contemplating like what he's gonna do, and then we circle back to the Triad spot, and he's outside in the car. He's like, "Yeah, so I was, I'm gonna leave," and he's practicing. And he's like, "Yeah, he's gonna kill me." Like, he doesn't know, how Oz is gonna take it. And I mean, he even said as much to her, like, "Hey, if I leave, I don't know if he's gonna just let me leave." So that just goes back to this idea that Victor's there right now and doing everything for Oz because he feels like he has to, not because it's necessarily his choice, but because he has to. And then forward back to that situation, he's in the car, and then a cop pulls up. And then the cop pulls up, and it tests Victor's ability to think on his feet.
Mm-hmm. He was very adaptive in that moment. So like you said, he's practicing in the car to tell Oz, how am I going to leave? How am I going to tell this crazy madman that I need to get out of town? And then he gets pulled over by a cop. For one, here's a front seat full of the shroom drug right next to him, a whole duffel bag. It ain't even zipped up. It's just all hanging out. And the officer pulls him out the car. He's like, "What are you doing around here?" And he checks his pockets, and it's like $500, $600 in his pocket. The cop goes, "Hey, what are you doing with all this money?" And Victor instinctively says, "What money?"
Yeah, what money? I guess you're right.
The cop goes, "You're right." And sorry, but freaking pockets it. Like,
that's what I was saying. Corruption everywhere. Whoever has the money wins. And this is the rules that Oz is like living in. And so he's just trying to explain to Victor, this is how the world works. And that is another example for him to see, like, actually the world does work exactly like Oz is saying. When the world is built on corruption, you're just doing what you got to do to survive.
Which leads into, I'm really glad you brought that up, which leads into a nice dinner between Victor and Oz. And Oz is asking Victor about his past, his parents, what they used to do. And Oz tells him and commends him. He's like, "You're a good kid. I mean, you did what you did, but regardless, your parents raised a good kid." But he wasn't there to do that for Victor.
Right.
He was there to do something else. But before we go into that something else, one thing, Matador, I wanted to bring up. With the scene where the server comes up and they're ordering their food and Victor can't get out his words.
Steak and
Yeah, he wanted steak frites and he couldn't get the frites out. And the waiter corrects him and Penguin instantly, hey, you let the kid talk.
Right.
You let him finish. Like, that's a big brother move.
Right.
Like, he loves, it's so weird to say that Oz loves somebody or has some emotion because this is not the Oswald Cobblepot that we know. The only person that we know Oz really cares about from comics and anything of that situation in movies is his mother.
Right.
So to see him love this kid or like or whatever it is, emotion towards this kid it's different and it feels good actually.
Yeah, no, it's a real good thing, and it gives a lot of value to Oz in a way that makes him seem a lot bigger than what he is as well. Like, looking out for him is like, I've seen Oz be slimy to everybody, and I don't see him being slimy ever to Victor. Like, he's literally like, no, I've looked at you, and like, I'm taking you under my wing, and that's my word. Whereas his word means shit to everybody else. His word,
yeah, I mean,
is worthless.
He is strict to Victor. He does teach Victor lessons, but he's not super slimy to him. Like,
right, he's not gonna betray him.
I still think Oz could betray Victor, which would lead us into Victor possibly becoming Victor's ass. That's just my thought. Because you would want to see this relationship and this love turn into betrayal and revenge. And if they ever come head to head in whatever series of Batman or another season of the Penguin or whatever's down the road for this series, they're gonna come head to head against each other. And what's gonna happen is there will be some emotion and some kind of love because there's that love now. There's that bonding now.
Right.
So I don't know if that's good. That's just a theory of mine that I have about the whole situation. I know people are gonna be like, well, that's not Victor Zaz's backstory. I don't care.
We didn't ask if you thought that was it. But I mean, it's a good point, and I think that's the point of the show for me, in me suspending the things that I know and letting it take me on the journey. Because what I'm saying more so is not that I can't believe that what you're saying is more of like, if that does happen, I'm gonna be really shocked because they built him up in a way where I'm seeing that Oz is not going to betray him. So if he does, it's going to be very impactful compared to like him betraying anybody else. It's like, we knew Oz was going to do that, right? Like it's almost like they're making it hard for me to think that he would. So if they did pull that trigger, then I'd be really mad that day when they do it. And I mean, that's good storytelling.
You would never think that Tony Soprano would portray Christopher, but he did.
I don't know, dog. Christopher was a different story, bro. I mean, I'm not saying he deserved it, but I mean, he probably earned it. He definitely earned it.
I mean, you're not wrong. So you do get Oz and Sofia making this deal with the Triad. The Triad's not too sure if they want to bring them in because of Falcone, the Falcone name. But they do say, hey, we need another made man to let us know this is okay. So, which brings us back to the dinner with Victor and Oz. And they weren't there just for shits and giggles. Falcone's wife is in the building. And we've already mentioned this in our previous review, that Luca Falcone's wife is sleeping with Johnny Vitti, the second-hand man of the Falcone family. Penguin walks up to her, tells her, hello, Trish, and she knows something's up. She knows it. And he goes, I just need you to do one thing for me. And it cuts to Johnny Vitti and Luca Falcone's wife sleeping with each other.
Bro, the
And
ultimate blackmail.
Yeah, him and Sofia walk in, and so Sofia sees it herself and says, "Hey, all you gotta do is make this phone call. Tell the triad we're good for it." And then Vitti fucks up. He says, Sofia, you I can respect, but the Penguin, I'd never respect the Penguin. We only keep him around for card games and parties because, yeah, you're entertaining, but you're also fun to make fun of behind your back. And Penguin takes that big old iPhone 15 Pro Max and shoves it down his throat. And you could hear it crack.
Oh my God.
It out and throws the phone and tells Johnny, make the fucking call. And he does.
I mean, he has to, all right? I mean, that was a moment where the Penguin is, he gets to take out a little bit of anger, but I mean, it didn't matter. Fool was finna make that call because we were just finna tell Luca that you sleeping with his wife. You're not gonna let us tell him that, so you're gonna do it. But I like that Oz got to be like, bro. And then Sofia's just watching in the background, just like.
She does get a smirk. She does get a smirk off of it.
I mean, because he already threatened her earlier in the episode. He already said, go on vacation or I'm going to tell everybody that you went on vacation, dog. So, I mean, she don't like this fool. So, watching him get his from Oz was, it was satisfactory.
Very, for sure. Because she's over it. Now, Johnny does make that phone call and the triad lets them sell the shrooms in their club. And it's popping. I mean, they're selling bottles of this stuff, like so much, so much. I'm talking, they made racks that night.
We're back in like the atmosphere where we meet Oz the first time, right? We're in that same scenario. He's not at the Iceberg Lounge; he's in their lounge, but he is.
He's in his element.
Up there. He's up there. This is what y'all gonna do. Here's the girls. Y'all gonna go over there and get all this money. And Victor is the bag man. You're gonna go over there and take them what they need. That's what he does. He is just like the big boss in the room, dog. I got you. I'm running the game.
He was standing up top and just scoured it. He was just, he was pounding his chest up there. It was great. But it does go to show, while selling the drugs, that the lights in the atmosphere is starting to get to Victor. Because remember, he's supposed to be leaving this night with his girlfriend. And he's getting a lot of text messages from her. The lights are very similar to the flash of the explosions. So he has PTSD.
Yep.
And his world, you see his world split for a quick second in this club. He drops the bottles. Some of the bottles, and he gets down to pick them up, but the bottles are mixed with the gravel from the rooftop when the explosions went off.
Right.
And then he finally stands up, and half of the club is behind him, and half of the flood is in front of him, showing that he's split between these two worlds: the world he used to have that was washed away, and the world he has behind him that he feels trapped in.
That's beautiful. This is beautiful storytelling.
It's great. But he gets himself together, picks up the vials, goes to the bathroom, and here's where we get to the ultimate climax of the episode. So Penguin walks into the bathroom to see that Victor is washing his face after this PTSD event he had. And he's so pumped. He's like, "You're doing good, kid. I'm so proud of you. And look at what you're doing. Look how successful you're doing." And then he realizes that there's something on Victor's mind, but also ringing in Victor's phone.
Right.
He tells him, "Give it to me."
Give me your phone. And he's seeing all the messages from Graciela. That's her name, right? Graciela? I think so. Anyway, and he's just like, "You going somewhere with my money?" Victor's like, no, not with your buddy. I'm just trying to leave. And then he's like, for a piece of ass. Bro, he was so good in that scene. It's just, he's finally seeing, here's Victor. And this is my favorite part of the episode because it explains outright exactly what Victor's been going through, which is, I feel like it's a trap. And he's like, you think you're trapped here? You think I'm holding you prisoner? And then he pulls his gun out. Is this what you think it feels like? Working with me? Like, I've got you at gunpoint all the time? Like, bro, no. Like, I'm trying to give you the opportunity that I see in you. Like, I want you to do something with yourself. Get more than what you got. Just like I did. And I'm trying to give you this chance. And he even gets him and he's like, you're asking whether or not you should do this, and throws him to the mirror. Just ask yourself. And then he's like, I can tell you the answer. It's because you want more than what you got, and you need this. You're looking for this. You're choosing it. But I guess you ain't. So you can go.
Yeah.
Bro.
He tells him, hey, go ahead and get. Go and get. And Victor chooses to leave and to drive to the bus stop. But in act of courageousness, Victor steals Penguin's car. Takes the Maserati.
He said, I'm mad. I got his keys. I'm going somewhere. I'm getting out of here.
He does take the Maserati to the bus stop, and he sees his girl waiting to get on the bus, and she's texting him, where you at? And he's right there, right across the street. But something in him he just can't get out the car.
Yep. He's looking at his life like fleeting, right? Like, this is it. This is the part of me that wants to do the right thing, that has the values, the things that I should do, like my dad says. And I'm watching that leave because what I really want is more than what I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful part because it's going to change who he is as a character. It's literally going from, I'm a trapped character, I'm just doing whatever I can to stay alive in this situation, to, nah, I chose this. Yeah. This is where I want to be.
Yeah, 100%. And, that does reflect a little bit later, but we cut to Oz and Sofia right outside the club. And she's just there. We still, like we said earlier, we don't know what really happened between them, but Oz comes out and tells her, I'm sorry. I didn't know he was going to do that to his own flesh and blood. I didn't know he was going to send you to Arkham. I just wanted to move up a few ranks. Right. And Sofia tells him, and look at you. You're still not a made man. You've done all this. You've been bozoing around for them for years, and they still haven't made you a made man. And before they can dive into anything, your girl, Maroni's wife, pulls up, hops out. Hey, we've been watching you, Oz.
And I've been working on it. Oh, you think we haven't been paying attention to you, Oz? You know all the moves you're making. Bro, her voice, I don't know if she's acting at all, or I don't mean to make fun of her if she ain't acting, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it sounds like to me. She'd be packing a lot of cigarettes.
It's very unique for that character to have that voice, and because she has an intimidating voice versus Oz's voice. Like, Oz has a very kind of instinctive, like, voice, but, like, her to oppose him, he's like...
Yeah, he was like, oh, man. But before that, though, just to go back to Oz, like, he's, like, pouring his heart out. I mean, I don't know if the waterworks was for just to keep playing the situation, but he was getting emotional with her. And then you even have Sofia, like, cry after he says everything. Like, you have to understand that I'm not sorry for what I've got. Like, this means everything to me, right? So it's very powerful, and in a way, that's like what he wants Victor to understand and have for himself. Like, he wants to be like, dude, one day you're gonna have something that you're not gonna feel sorry that you got it, bro. And I want you to feel 100%. That same thing. And even before that, like, Oz was already emotionally tripping, bro. When he left, like, yeah, he kicked him out, but he also was, like, down, bro. Like, he was just like...
Oh, he was getting drunk at the bar.
I'm not sure about, like, the dynamic that Oz actually has for Victor, because at first I thought it was going to be, like, he kind of looks at him like he's his son, right? But it doesn't really feel that way. It's almost like, this is my brother, and it's my little brother, and you kind of said that earlier, and that kind of fits more because he doesn't really treat him like a son. He's treating him like protege, like little version of me.
Yeah.
Like, this is me again, and I'm trying to duplicate what I went through for this fool.
Yeah, but like you said, he started off where Victor was with Sofia, and that's where that emotion comes into that scene. Is like, I cared about you like a sister, like he does with Victor. It's like he does have care for people, and things do happen, but I genuinely think he was like, I did not know that your own dad would, whatever happened between us, I did not know he would do this to you. So it's this big buildup, and as we stated earlier, Maroni's wife just rolls right in and kills the whole moment. Pops right out the car with the goons. We've been watching you, Oz. We know what you've been doing. and it's... We don't know what she's saying because it cuts right back to our boy Victor pulling up in the car to come apologize to Oz and let him know, like, I'm here to ride. And Victor, without, like we said, it's been building this whole episode. Victor, without a doubt, without a thought, lures it into one of the goons. Boom!
Bro, no questions, bro. This is my loyalty right there. I'm proving myself. My boss has a gun to his head. I'm mowing somebody down, bro, to get him out of there. And he did, bro. And then they get in the car, and then, bro, I was just like, all that... See, that's why you can't really trust Oz. All that stuff he said to Sofia, I care about you, all this stuff. And he's like, all right, let's go. And it reminds me of the movie Soldier, where he's like,
what are we waiting for, Captain? Give us a go.
We give Riley and his men 7 more minutes.
Fuck him. Let's just go.
Fuck him. Let's just go. Same thing. Like, hey, what about Sofia? Let's go. I don't care. Leave her. Bro.
And he did. Victor had no choice, and he did. And this is what I love about the Penguin. Every episode, at the end so far, they've given him a line that just sticks with you. And the best line, after he tells him, fuck her, let's go, he gets happy and he laughs at Victor. He goes, you're in it now, Vic. You're in it now.
Absolutely, man.
You're in this life and it's great, and we're gonna tear up Gotham.
Man, it was such a good episode. I'm surprised. Like, I thought at the beginning it kind of was a little slow, but I mean, you're telling the backstory of Victor's parents and all this stuff, so I mean, intentionally the pacing was the way it was, but I mean, it picked up, and I'm really glad they gave us this episode like focused on Victor. I really like the character development. He has a lot, so it's good to see. I did see the preview for the next episode, and that's going to be about Sofia and what went down to make her the hangman. We're going to see Mark Strong as the daddy, and he's going to come in and he's going to do his thing. So, I mean, I'm just curious to see, what happened and what makes Sofia the way she is. But I'm also wondering, where is Sofia? Victor didn't kill everybody. He only killed the one with the gun at the moment. And then you have the Maroni. Like, do they tell her what Oz is doing? Probably not, because they're trying to play the situation. So I'm just curious. Like, it's not so like cut and dry. Like, oh, I'm about to put you on blast and mess everything up because that's part of their plan,
Yeah.
right?
We probably won't find out for another week after this Sofia episode. Unless this Sofia episode is structured like the Victor episode. But that's something we got to find out next week on the Retro Matador. So make sure, as Matador always says, you want to like and subscribe right down below. That helps the views in the channel. And, follow us next week for the Penguin Part 4. But we are going to do another episode. Matador, I will be out for about a week or two. I will be going to represent us at a film festival, the Austin Horror Film Festival out in Austin, obviously. If you don't know, Matador and I, we work on films. Matador is our visual effects man, and also he's an extra, but he's one of those most important extras that you see in all of our movies.
Listen, don't let them sell it to you that way. Let's sell it the right way. We have award-winning director over here of our film Attack of the Swole People, and you represent, dog. You won an award for that? More than one. Been in a lot of festivals. Can't wait to see it. Where can I see it? When can I see it? How do I see it, Elijah?
So it is still currently on the festival run. Once it is done, we will give updates on how to see it and where to see it and where to locate it. But Matador will link the trailer down below so you can check that out as well and check out some of our other short films. But until then, my name is RetroDetro.
And I'm Matador Gabe.
And that's the show. We'll see y'all next week.
Ooh.